We've been plagued by rain all day long, but optimistic that now the cars are on the racetrack and we'll be able to get the green flag in just a few moments and get this 38th edition of the Pepsi 400 underway from Daytona International Speedway on ESPN Speed World. We'll take a break and be back with the starting lineup when we return to Daytona. It's a July 4th holiday weekend tradition, the Pepsi 400 from Daytona, being brought to you by the Pepsi-Cola Company, who reminds you that nothing else is a Pepsi, by Lubricator 2001 Super Engine Treatment. It's an engine production breakthrough. By Sears Tire and Auto Centers. And by Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. A great crowd on hand here at Daytona. Let's see how they line up for this event. On the pole is Jeff Gordon in the DuPont Refinishes Chevrolet 188.869, and Sterling Marlin alongside in the Kodak Film Chevrolet at 187.207. The second row, it's Dale Jarrett and Darrell Waltrip. Row number 3, Johnny Benson and Jeff Purvis. The fourth row, Dale Earnhardt and Ken Schrader. Row number 5, Lake Speed and Bobby Labonte. Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte are in the next row. Then Dick Trickle and Ernie Irvin. Row number 8, Robert Presley and Hut Strickland. Derek Cope and Morgan Shepherd are in the next row. Then Bobby Hamilton and Joe Nemechek. Row number 11, Kenny Wallace and John Andretti. The 12th row, Michael Waltrip and Jeremy Mayfield.
Back in row 13, we find Ricky Craven and Dave Marcus starting his 800th race. Row 14, Jimmy Spencer and Bill Elliott, we saw just a moment ago. Row 15, Gary Bradbury in the Shoney's Inn car, and Greg Sachs replacing Steve Grissom, the Cartoon Network car. Row 16, Bobby Helen and Rick Mast. 17, Jeff Burton and Ward Burton. The Burton brothers make up row 17. In row 18, Wally Dallenbach and Brett Bodine. Row 19, Kyle Petty, Ted Musgrave. And here are the provisionals. In row 20, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin. The other two provisionals, Jeff Bodine and Loy Allen.
There is the 42 cars starting lineup, and from the Goodyear blimp overhead, we see a shot of this facility here with Lake Lloyd there in the middle. 2.5-mile tri-oval, front stretch at 1,200 feet, back stretch 3,600 feet. The banking 31 degrees in the corners, the straights at 6 degrees, and the tri-oval is banked at 18 degrees.
As a matter of fact, in Daytona, USA, they have the 31 degrees simulated inside. And you can see, folks, when you visit, just how high 31 degrees can be. In-car cameras. This is Mark Martin's car starting at the rear of the field. And there we see Kenny Schrader in the Bud in-car camera. Ted Musgrave, the Prime Star Family Channel Ford. Hut Strickland, this is the Circuit City Ford Thunderbird. And we'll be riding along with Dale Jarrett in the A1 Steak Sauce in-car camera. I love those food sponsors. Loy Allen's Health Source Ford. Oh, we got another one.
One more.
Michael Waltrip, the Citgo Ford Thunderbird.
Starting from the middle of the field in 23rd position. Now, these cars are going to stay out there for a while to make sure the track is good and dry before they turn them loose for high-speed racing. These laps do not count. They will be going around several more times before they get the green flag, just to make sure that the track is completely dry. We'll take a break and be back with more of the Pepsi 400 live from Daytona. Field has still not gotten the green flag. We're just a few minutes away from it. Today's overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. And you'll notice that it doesn't look like it usually does, and that's because the new temporary look is in preparation for the upcoming Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. Here's the look at the banking, the 31 degrees that they are going through right now in turns number 1 and 2. We understand it's going to be about 5 more minutes before they get the green flag, but the track looks really good, Benny.
Yes, it does. Looks very well. Looks like we will see action in just a moment. And I tell you what, Jerry punches Ray Evernham. Does he feel? What does Jeff say about the racetrack, Jerry?
Well, just a moment ago, what did Jeff tell you, Ray, about the track when it'd be ready?
So it'd be about 2 or 3 more laps. It's quit raining. It's drying out pretty good.
Got to ask you, as a Winston Cup champion, you get a chance to pick the first pit. Ordinarily, you're at the far end of pit road or down toward turn 1. Why have you changed? You're halfway up here at the start-finish line. Why?
Well, we want to find out about this pit road deal ourselves. You know, we've got some ideas. It's got an opening in front of it and behind it, so it's easy entry, easy exit. It's halfway up pit road. Under green, which this race could come down to green, it would make a difference carrying momentum off of pit road. Last week at Michigan, you know, we came in on a pit stop with the first pit, and we were, I think, a second ahead of Ernie Irvin, and when it all shook down, we were 2 seconds behind him because he had so much momentum off of pit road under green. So we took it here, and it's pit number 24.
Hey, well, maybe it is something in the numerology. Thanks, Ray. NASCAR wants to talk to you about communicating to your driver, Jeff Gordon, while he talks to the pole sitter. Let's check in Dale Earnhardt's pit, I think, where Bill Weber's standing by with David Smith.
And David has been talking to his driver, Dale Earnhardt. What's he say about the track?
Well, he talked like they could just about be ready to go any time, but they're going to give it another lap or two. I just heard NASCAR talking about turn 3 again. May need a little bit more drying, but Dale's chomping at the bit. He wants to get this thing underway. He's ready to go.
Well, you guys are in a different situation this season. You don't have the champion's pick when it comes to pits. How about your pit stall? You got a good one?
Well, it's going to work out for us. There's some others I'd rather have, but we'll do fine out of here. We just need to make good, smooth stops, get it back on the track, and let him at it.
David Smith, Dale Earnhardt, ready to go to John Kernan.
And I'm in Dale Jarrett's pit with his crew chief, Todd Parrott. And Todd, what has Dale said about the racetrack?
He just come on the radio just a minute ago and said it's still a little wet down in 3 and 4. All in all, it's not too bad. Just a little wet down on the bottom. Just anxious to get ready.
Well, it looks like, 2 laps before they turn them loose?
Yeah, that's what they just said. NASCAR said 2 to go before we go green.
All right, 2 to go before they turn them loose under the green flag, guys.
So we will await the start of the race here in just a couple of more laps. There is Dale Jarrett, and there is the A1 Steak Sauce in-car camera showing the pole sitter Jeff Gordon up ahead.
You know, we have some radio contact with some of the teams. Let's ask Lake Speed, the spam car, what he thinks the racetrack's looking like. Lake Speed, this is Benny Parsons up at ESPN. How's the racetrack looking?
Benny, it looks awful good out here right now. I think we'll be going here real soon.
What was the signal Doyle Ford gave you the last time? 2 laps? What was the signal that Doyle gave you last time, Lake, for how many laps to go?
I think we got 2 to go right now, Benny.
All right, there you have it, folks. About a lap and a half and green flag.
And it can't come too soon because the race fans here have been very, very patient, but they, as we do, want to get this thing underway and completed today so that you and we can have the rest of the July 4th holiday weekend with family. The field is in turn number 3 and still a couple of more laps before we go racing and to start the Pepsi 400, so we'll take another break. Stand by. Field coming down the backstretch, and you see no flashing lights atop the pace car, and that means that they will get the green flag when they come by the line this time. Now, we did have some drivers, especially those starting at the rear of the field, come in for a pit stop and to top off before getting the green.
Yeah, about 7 of the cars started in the back, stopped, put some fuel in the car because after all, they had run 4 or 5 slow laps, pace laps, getting the track dried off. And remember at Michigan, the last race a couple of weeks ago, Rusty Wallace won the race on fuel mileage. He did not make a pit stop, and some of the cars that were in front of him appeared to be faster than he did stop. So
taking a quick trip through our in-car cameras that will help us with our coverage here this afternoon. There is Michael Waltrip. Let's watch the field come off the 4th corner and go to green. Sterling Marlin is off to a very good start as the outside front row sitter is in the lead, and they're 4 wide down the backstretch. Dick Trickle almost with the left side tires in the grass as they head for the banking.
And I know he don't want to be in the grass because it is extremely slippery down there. Darrell Waltrip on the outside, hung on the outside.
Off the banking they come, on to the tri-oval for the completion of lap 1. It's Marlin, Gordon, Jarrett, Earnhardt, and Benson.
See leg speed. Dick Trickle and 90 Carter on the bottom of the racetrack.
We got about 6 cars single file, and then this 2 abreast.
Boy, it didn't take them long to get by that camera, did it? At about 185 miles an hour. Rusty Wallace down on the inside. Takes a look. Can't make it. Terry Labonte, Rusty Wallace following Dick Trickle.
Bobby Labonte, or Bobby Hamilton, I should say, up on the top side along with Bobby Labonte. Second lap, still Marlin up front. Ken Schrader breaks away from the 2x2.
We're riding along with Hut Strickland. Michael Waltrip right beside Hut. Michael's very, very high on the racetrack as he follows Derek Cope off the second corner.
There's Kenny Schrader looking back on Rusty Wallace. And Jeff Purvis. Yep. Right behind Purvis is Bobby, and then Terry's to the inside.
Now we see those 2 cars side by side are losing some ground to the 25 car. Mark Martin and Ricky Rudd started near the pack, the end of the field.
They're both trying to move up. Martin up to 37th position. Ricky Rudd in 40th. Well, that can't be because Martin is right behind Rudd. Ted Musgrave also starting from the rear of the field today, and there's Ted.
That's the rear of the field. Let's go back to the front where Sterling Marlin and Jeff Gordon are leading this car, Dale Jarrett. This is turn 4. They exit the corner, and let's take the cars behind them.
We got about 11 running single file, and then we get back to the 2x2. And the first 2 cars running side by side are Ernie Irvan, Jeff Purvis, then Robert Presley and Bobby Labonte.
Oh, look at Purvis back and forth. They're telling Jeff Purvis is telling the guys on the radio, look, I just need to ride along, get some confidence. Bill Weber, what did he say on the radio?
He hasn't said a whole lot, Benny, but that's exactly what Mark Reno said. He said he might be a little bit nervous, trying to build a little confidence early, so hanging on right at the front, very fast cars. Jeff Purvis trying to race well and also build up his confidence early here in the Pepsi 400.
Now, really would be wise if these guys could fall into single file because those running in single file are pulling away in the draft.
But the problem is who's going to back off, and if they do, they're going to get run over. But there really isn't any way to get single file right now. If he goes up the hill, he and Purvis could get in single file. He tried to. Now he's going to move up. But now here comes Presley.
There's Jeremy Mayfield and Kenny Wallace running side by side. John Andretti is also in this gaggle of cars, as Benny calls it, running alongside Bobby Hamilton. There's the view of Hut Strickland looking ahead to Robert Presley. And now Irvan and Presley have fallen into single file formation as they try to catch up with the lead draft, which is still being led by Sterling Marlin, but the real action is back here at mid and late pack. Sterling Marlin continues to lead, then Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt.
Johnny Benson's in there. Darrell Walter still hanging in 6th spot. And here we see somebody on the inside trying to make it 3 abreast. That is a 21 car, Michael Waltrip.
All he Dallenbach is the meat in that sandwich as Derek Cope is on the high side, but everything gets straightened out by the time they enter the banking.
John Andretti has been able to clear the 44 car of Jeff Purvis. Meanwhile, he is pulled up in front of the 44 Purvis. Looks like the outside line might be the one to go now.
John Andretti running back in 16th position at the moment.
And look at Purvis go on the outside, trying to take that spot away. Now then, here comes Lake Speed and Schrader trying to get alongside. Dick Trickle has been blown back to the outside and has lost 3 or 4 spots as Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte hook up, try to work their way to the front.
Schrader using just a lane higher route there in the corners, but maintaining the draft. And look at this, coming off the onto the tri-oval, off the 4th corner banking. 3 wide down through here. Purvis, Andretti, and Mayfield. And they run 3 wide all the way down through the tri-oval and into the corner. And now Andretti tries to come up on Purvis, but Jeff holds his ground. Now he'll slip in behind John.
That really was the wisest thing to do, because hooked up together. Now Ricky Craven trying to look on the inside. Spencer, I thought, was going to close that spot.
The Napa Field summary will show you where everybody is running here in the early stages of the race, but these positions are changing quickly, especially back in this group.
That time when Purvis got in the corner in the 44 car, he had to lift off the throttle. In doing that, Jeremy Mayfield went by, and you can see he's still losing momentum. Ricky Craven was able to get by. Now his car is back up to speed.
There is Bill Elliott, who has fallen back to the rear of this pack. Running along with Gary Bradbury.
Yes, that's Bradbury in the 95 car. So evidently something is amiss with the McDonald's car, because we see Elliott was 35th on the last couple of laps, and now he's back in 42nd.
Bill Elliott making his return to racing about a month earlier than everybody had anticipated because of the injury that he suffered at Talladega. He missed 5 races, but returns here to action at Daytona, but he has fallen to the rear of the field at the moment. It's Sterling Marlin up front, followed by Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, and Darrell Waltrip are 1 through 5 after 10 laps of the Pepsi 400. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us. Back at the Pepsi 400. And Sterling Marlin continues to lead Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. Then Ken Schrader, Terry Labonte. Dale Jarrett got hung up high in the draft a lap or so ago and has fallen back to 6th position. He was 3rd just a few minutes ago.
Well, going to break, he was in 3rd spot. While we're in break, Earnhardt got position on the outside and brought Kenny Schrader, Terry Labonte with him.
Chevys up front at the moment. And
that's what I was thinking about.
Yep, the Ford of Dale Jarrett.
See, Ernie Irvin and Dick Trickle closed in on the back of Dale Jarrett.
Ward Burton and Jeremy Mayfield are running side by side into turn number 1. And the 22 car has made a pretty good headway here in the early going.
22 car started in 34th. And he's running about 16th.
Hey, look at this.
Hey, Schrader going by Earnhardt. Earnhardt must have slipped coming off the corner because Schrader has position. Labonte goes along. Here comes Dale Jarrett trying to take the Quality Care Ford by.
And that's how quickly you can lose positions in the draft. And Earnhardt is still on the outside. And with the line formed to the inside of him, it could be quite a while before he gets back into position. Jarrett has gone around, and so has Dick Trickle now. So the Henry cars are now running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, being led by Sterling Marlin. This is Dale Jarrett as he tries to pick up the draft of the 4 cars in front of him. Meanwhile, back of that, we have Earnhardt and Trickle running side by side. Ernie Irvan and Bobby Labonte are 2x2. Lake Speed and Rusty Wallace are the same.
Bobby Labonte says, every place I go, there's two cars running side by side.
John Andretti and Robert Presley have also joined the group. And now Ken Schrader takes over second position. Labonte goes to third, and Jeff Gordon is hung out to dry. And Gordon goes from second to fifth just that quickly.
Look at Schrader's car on the very, very bottom of this racetrack. Evidently, he and Phil Hamner got a great setup today. Awfully good sign when the driver can follow that white line all the way around the corner.
The driver who has the best average finish of all active drivers at a Pepsi 400, Ken Schrader. And second on the all-time list, an average finish of 10th. Good shot there, looking back on his teammate Terry Labonte. And oh, this is at 190 miles an hour.
Labonte just wanted to make sure he knew it. And there we see Dale Jarrett trying to get by Labonte.
Jerry, a good run by Kenny.
Bob, no doubt about it. In fact, this car was dialed in back in February. It's the exact same race car he used to finish second in the 125-mile qualifier and third in the Daytona 500. Remember, they lost a lug nut problem at Talladega, cost them a lap. That's why they finished back in the pack there. But this is a very brand-new race car they wanted to keep for Daytona primarily and Talladega if needed. They said this car could win at Daytona, and that win could come today.
Boy, it'd be great to see Ken Schrader take that car to the front. We're watching now Jeff Gordon still on the outside of the racetrack, and there is Schrader's bumper cam looking back on Terry Labonte.
And we see that Dale Jarrett in the quality gear cars worked his way back to the fifth spot there against that second pack. And Earnhardt finally, with Ernie Irvan's help, looks like he's able to get by. He does. The Dick Trickle car. There goes Bobby Labonte. Has Robert Presley closed up on the back end. Trickle, meanwhile, has the 9 car of Lake Speed to help him.
Now the question is, are these 3 Hendry cars running second, third, and fourth going to gang up and run down Sterling Marlin?
Yeah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Sterling, your history. That's what they're saying right now.
Would they have the thought in mind of running behind him at this stage of the race and being a little conservative on fuel?
I don't think so, because these cars can probably run 120 miles, 125 miles on a tank of fuel with the restrictor plate that their cars are using here. There we go, Schrader on the inside, trying to take the lead in turn 1.
And he's going to do it. Terry Labonte heads to the bottom also, along with Jeff Gordon. They are going to gang up on Sterling Marlin, but Marlin, amazingly, is able to hold his own outside of the draft.
Don't tell me Labonte is going. No, he's not going. I thought for a second he was going with Sterling Marlin.
But now these guys are 2x2. Ernie Irvan has caught up to make it a 7-car lead draft.
Now we understand why Richard Childress in 1997 is going to have a 2-car team. And also discussions about Morgan McLaurin maybe, because we've had the 3 Hendry cars and the 2 Yates cars in the top 7 spots.
Oh, good back and forth battling here.
And look
at Marlin.
Looks like Kenny Schrader led that lap.
But just barely. Schrader and Jeff Gordon 2x2. Terry Labonte also in the mess.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, mess.
Now again, with these guys running 2x2 up front, the second pack is going to catch up, and this is going to be a, well, you count them, however many cars are out there.
Well, there's about 10 or 12 in another pack, so we want to have about a 25-30 car pack for the lead. Meanwhile, Sterling Marlin has fought off the efforts of Schrader to take the lead.
Darrell Waltrip is not in the lead draft. He started in 4th position but has fallen back to 26th. Let's find out what the problem is from John Kernan.
Darrell trying desperately to hang on to the tail end of the lead draft. Jeff Hanna told me he got shuffled out and got out of line and just went straight back, lost 15 spots in about 1 lap. Darrell's reporting that the car is loose when there's another car behind him. So he's trying to hang on at the tail end of that lead draft, but it looks like he is losing it. When they pit, they will make a wedge adjustment to try and tighten the car up.
Sterling Marlin has been able to withstand the Hendrick onslaught and maintains the lead. That's pretty good.
Now Jeff Gordon, the pole sitter, has worked his way back into the second spot.
Rusty Wallace is on the bottom of the track there.
It looks like he's losing some spots. He was up in about 6 spots, but meanwhile, Robert Presley, the 18 car at late speed, and the 90 car now going by Rusty Wallace.
Right behind Rusty is Michael Waltrip in this Sitco Ford for the Wood brothers. Here comes Dick Trickle driving the Heilig Myers number 90 now on a race-to-race basis for Judy Donlevy.
There's a bunch of Fords in that bunch.
Yeah, there it is.
There's 5 Fords.
And there's Wally Dallenbach right behind that group of 4. Bobby Labonte leading that group. He has pretty much pulled away now. Ken Schrader, meanwhile, is the one that's lost spots recently.
Schrader got out of the mix somehow and has worked his way back to about 10th spot.
It's Sterling Marlin showing the way with 23 laps completed out of 160. Gordon second, then Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Ernie Irvin. For a pit stop, and there was reported smoke out of that car. Well, he looks okay.
If he loses the coil spring, it's going to smoke because the tire is going to drop down on the sheet metal, or the reverse, the sheet metal is going to drop down on the car.
Well, the track officials are there. Meanwhile, while that was happening, as they were coming down to get the caution, Dale Earnhardt almost wrecked. Watch this.
He's going to make contact with Ernie Irvin right here. Just a little bit of contact, and Earnhardt almost lost it. That was a spring from the 29 car.
How about that? And he is, oh yeah, you can see.
Yeah, see where the body has dropped down on the tire, and that was a smoke that we saw. We thought the 29 car had blown.
Yep. All right, the pits are open, and here comes nearly everybody. Here's Jerry Punch.
They are planning just a 2-tire change here in Jeff Gordon's pit. He's complaining of being loose. They're going to take a half a round to bite. There it goes, a half round out of the right rear. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Sterling Marlin, they go to work on the right side. 2-tire change on the right side. Plenty of fuel, the Kodak Chevrolet. It'll be 4 tires now for the 4 car. Also 4 tires down there for the 3 car. The 44 car slides in front of the 3. Sterling getting left side tires and fuel. Waiting now on the left rear. The car down. He's away. Waiting for the 3 to work his way out. Plenty of cars coming out of pit road. The 88 goes by. The 2, the 3 back out.
Not a single car remained on the racetrack. Everybody came in for a pit stop, and now they make the shuffle.
Never seen Darrell Waltrip leaving the pits. Kenny Wallace, Ricky Craven, Bill Elliott, and Jeff Purvis.
Johnny Benson among the last to leave. Morgan Shepherd is still on pit road along with Dave Marcus. The 29 car of Greg Sachs has gone to the garage area because of that spring that came out of the car. We'll be right back.
Should be more than bodybuilders and weights. A gym should be fun. Someplace where everyone can go. Someplace with specialized private instruction and customized programs. Someplace like Rando's Fitness Center. Their main focus is
still being thrown over Daytona International Speedway. 33 cars in with damage. Jerry Punch, you down there?
Yes, we are, Bob. He was exiting the pits after a 4-tire change and apparently got into another car as he was leaving pit road. That's Andy Petrie, the team manager and crew chief, called Robert Presley back in. They've taken the right front tire off and now trying to beat some of the sheet metal back away. The spotter said they had a tire rub. Now they drop it out from under the jack and they make sure the car will turn right and left, and Presley is down and away. Let's go to
Dale Jarrett on his pit stop. He had complained that the car was just a little bit tight, so they made a track bar adjustment to try and loosen the car up. It was 4 tires. It was a fairly routine stop, although he did have just a little bit of trouble getting out of the pit. The 8 car was in front of him, but DJ lost some spots in here on pit road, but there were no real problems.
And we're less than a half a lap from the resumption of that race. There is Dale Jarrett.
And I don't know how in the world Hutch Strickland had left pit road almost last, and he was up front, but had a slow pit stop. I guess changed 4 tires. Some of the other guys changed 2 tires.
John Kernan has an update on Hutt.
Before the caution, a few laps before that, Hutt had radioed in and told his crew that the engine had just lost power. And he's flipped the switch to change ignition, and all of a sudden things picked back up, so it must have been an ignition problem. He said he was back to full power, and the car felt pretty decent, but they needed that caution flag so they could get caught back up with the field. But Hutt seems to be okay right now. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Sterling Marlin very happy with the Kodak Chevrolet as the green flag comes out. Jeff Gordon leads him back after a 2-tire stop. But 4 tires for the 4 of the 3, and 3 crew chief David Smith told me they took 4 now because if they need to stop under green, it'll probably be 2 tires.
So Jeff Gordon has the lead as we go back to racing, and Lake Speed is running in 2nd position. Before the caution, Lake was in 11th spot, so he is up to 2nd now as the race resumes. And Ken Schrader running 3rd. Sterling Marlin is 4th, and then it is the 37 car of John Andretti as they once again get 2x2 down the backstretch. And Dale Jarrett pulls alongside both Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace.
Going by the Dale Jarrett car, trying to go by on the outside. Dale Jarrett hung on the inside, has no one to draft with, but there comes his teammate, Ernie Irvin, not too far behind him, but Dale jumps in behind Terry Labonte.
Again, Lake Speed from 11th to 2nd, and the reason is because he had a real good pit stop there. 30 seconds compared to 39.1 for Sterling Marlin.
Marlin changed 4 tires, and Lake Speed obviously only changed the 2 tires, as did Jeff Gordon, the leader of the race.
Yep.
Now we've got Rusty Wallace hung out on the bottom of the racetrack as Terry Labonte goes by.
Track position, very important. Lake Speed went with it. The 29 car of Greg Sachs goes back out onto the racetrack. Have you ever had a spring come out of your car, BP?
Yeah, after I hit somebody running about 100 miles an hour, but never just fall out of the car. There we see John Andretti.
Boy, remember the great run he had here in the Daytona 500 in February until he eliminated in an accident. John having another good run.
Something happened to Schrader.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny Schrader went down in the corner. Andretti goes blowing by. Labonte goes blowing by on the outside. That's Bobby.
Well, we'll keep an eye on Ken Schrader because he was running so strong there for a while. And here is Sterling Marlin taking 2nd position from Lake Speed, and now setting his sights on the leader, Jeff Gordon. Bill has more on Lake Speed as he continues to drop back, Bill.
Well, they were very happy. I just talked to his crew chief. They were happy to the 2 tires stop, and they said the car's fine. They just wanted to put 2 on in the fuel and send it back out. So they weren't overly worried a few minutes ago, but they might be pretty soon.
Bobby Labonte and Terry Labonte are hooked up on the outside, going around Lake Speed, and Jimmy Spencer, who's now in this mix. And Dale Earnhardt comes off the corner, goes to the inside, and tries to take the position away from John Andretti. They're side by side down the backstretch. Dale Jarrett is going to go with the Ford.
He's trying to help the Ford, but he finds out that Ford is not fast enough, so he'll dive down and try to go with that Chevrolet and gain another spot. And he does.
So Dale Earnhardt comes up now to 3rd position. That is the lap car of Greg Sachs, the 29, the reason for our first caution. He is 3 laps down. Jerry has more on Greg Sachs.
I just talked to Bill Engel and took the car back in the garage here. They have since fixed it. He's back on the racetrack. But Engel told me that that's a brand new race car that just finished on Wednesday prior to coming here Wednesday night. And the spring perch in the left rear broke off. That allowed the left rear coil spring to come out. Simply a problem with maybe the welding or whatever, but it broke. They have fixed it, and he is back in the racetrack.
3 wide down through the backstretch again. Let's see how this sorts out as they head for the banking.
Looks like they're still 3 abreast. Yes, they are.
Good shot from Ted Musgrave's Prime Star Family Channel Ford. That's Jimmy Spencer right there.
And they're still going to be 3 abreast. Wow.
And from Mark Martin's perspective, he's up to 13th after starting in the rear of the field.
going for the lead.
Michael Waltrip.
Sterling Marlin going for the lead, going in turn 3. Man, is that thing strong. That Kodak film Chevrolet is so strong. And meanwhile, Earnhardt is going to tag along and blow by Jeff Gordon.
And probably Dale Jarrett will come along too. John Andretti trying to catch up to the group. Andretti with a strong performance here in the early going as Earnhardt and Gordon are side by side through the tri-oval. Bill Weber has more on this great run from the Morgan McClure team and Sterling Marlin.
Well, they're all smiles down here in the Kodak pit. A lot of guys slap and run Pittman, the engine builder, on the back. But earlier when they were running in teams, you had the Yates team running together and you had the Hendrick team running together. Well, you were going to see a new team. It was going to be McClure-Childress because the 3 and the 4 wanted to hook up, and that way they'd be their own little team to compete with these other multi-car teams. And guess what? They're going to the front. Let's go further on down pit road.
Talking about team philosophy, Hendrick's philosophy early on was to get all 3 of his cars to lead at least 1 lap. That's why we saw the 25 car make a move early prior to the caution and lead a lap. Then he backed off. The 24 came in, took 2 tires. He led a lap. Now he is comfortable. The one car that hasn't led is the Perry Labonte car number 5, and he is right behind Kenny Schrader. Labonte, you told Labonte, you be patient, but when you get an opportunity, go to the front and get you a lap for those 5 points.
Michael Waltrip, Sitco Ford, looking back on Ken Schrader.
A shuffle up in the lead. Dale Jarrett has been able to get by Dale Earnhardt, take over the 2nd spot. So now he talked about in the pre-race, this is the place he wanted to be. He wanted to be the meat in the sandwich between 2 Chevrolets. If Earnhardt's going to get to the front, he's got to use Dale Jarrett's Ford to do it.
Sterling Marlin leads Jarrett and Earnhardt. And Jeff Gordon. John Andretti, the top 5 here. 35 laps out of 160 have been completed. We'll be back with more live coverage of the 38th running of the traditional July 4th holiday race, the Pepsi 400 from Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway and the Pepsi 400. Jeff Gordon has slipped back considerably here just in the last couple of laps. He got out of the draft, and he comes by back in 9th position. And up front, 5 cars running together, but still Sterling Marlin is the leader, but Dale Earnhardt is now hung out to dry, and Kenny Schrader, who we saw dropping back earlier, is now up to full speed again.
Yeah, if you were feeling sorry for Kenny Schrader, don't, because it looks like his car is running as well as anyone's now. He and Terry Labonte working their way past Dale Earnhardt, taking over 3rd and 4th spot.
And that's going to help the next pack, which is being led by John Andretti. Here he comes along with Michael Waltrip and also Jimmy Spencer and Jeff Gordon. And then behind Gordon is 2x2, Ernie Irvin and Ward Burton. Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. Mark Martin not doing too bad for as poor a starting position as he had. He started back in 40th position and is currently up to 11th.
Could Jeff Gordon be paying because of changing 2 tires? Is 4 tires going to be the hot setup each and every pit stop? If the cars are going to run that poorly on just 2 tires, then even on green flag stops, I think we'll see the teams changing 4 tires.
Mark Martin currently 11th after starting in 40th position. Yesterday during qualifying, the oil pump belt broke and he was not able to turn in a qualifying performance, and so had to take a provisional to get into the field.
Here we see Mark Martin right alongside Rusty Wallace following Ernie Irvin. And there we see Ward Burns in B&A Pontiac trying to help Rusty Wallace, Dick Trickle, Wally Dallenbach go to the front. That's the inside line. Bobby Labonte, Ted Musgrave making up the outside line along with Ernie and Mark Martin.
Here's another Napa Field summary for you. Watch for your favorite driver. Terry Labonte is on the move now, coming up to 3rd place. Behind Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. Sterling Marlin, by the way, is leading his 13th consecutive Daytona race. They call him the restrictor plate king, and he's showing it here today.
So you understand why. So Ward Burke back in 12th spot. He started in 34th. Mark Martin Now in 12th spot. The 22 cars moved up another spot. Mark Martin started in 39th spot.
Jerry, what's the problem with Jeff Gordon that he's fallen back?
Well, Bob, prior to the pit stop, he had complained his car was getting loose, and they decided to come in and make a track bar adjustment on that pit stop, but they only put 2 tires on instead of 4, thinking maybe the track bar would tighten the car up. Well, the 2 tires didn't work, and the car has gotten very, very loose. Just last time by, he told crew chief Ray Evernham, it is so loose out here, it's hard to handle in the corners.
All right, so Jeff Gordon with a bit of a struggle right now needs to come in and perhaps get another set of tires and get the handling problem corrected. Ernie Irvan comes up right behind him now. 9th and 10th, Gordon and Irvan.
Dale Jarrett said in interviews before the race that he did not feel like his car could lead as well as some of the Chevrolets, but it felt like it would follow well. And that's one reason he's just going to stay there, and hopefully on the last lap some miracle is going to allow him to win this thing.
We'll take this shot from a blimp and show you the whole train. The last time that a driver won both races here at Daytona in February and July was Bobby Allison in 1982, and Dale Jarrett is trying to do it today. A great shot overhead as you see the whole string of cars coming through the tri-oval off of corner number 4. Boys, there's going to be some excitement at Darlington when we go there on Labor Day weekend for the Southern 500, because Dale Jarrett could win $1 million.
Going for the Winston Million. I guess the last time anyone went for that was Darrell Waltrip in about '89, I think it was.
Here's Ernie Irvan on the bottom side of the racetrack,
trying to get by Ward Burton. Jimmy Spencer, the Smoky Joe car, has a good run going today.
Sure is. He's a former winner of this race, won his first NASCAR Winston Cup race.
Boy, Ernie is all alone down there, isn't he? Well, now Rusty's going to move down with him. Probably help him out.
Ernie Irvan running back in 10th position, and side by side for 11th is Rusty Wallace and Ward Burton. 115 laps to go here at Daytona. We hope you're enjoying your July 4th holiday weekend. We're glad you could join us here at Daytona. But one car still on the lead lap of this Daytona Speed Classic.
And you see the tachometer on Kenny Schrader's car about 6,800, now down to about 6,600 RPMs. That's because of the restrictor plate. Normally we would see 8,000, 8,500. With the restrictor plate, about 6,800 RPMs is maximum they can turn without completely running out of power.
And look at him tuck right in on the back rear spoiler of Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt is 4th, and Kenny Schrader is in 5th position, and now he takes a look to the inside of Dale as Dale drifts up on the racetrack just a little bit.
Looks like when Schrader went in the corner behind Earnhardt, that Earnhardt's car became just a little bit loose. He had to go up the bank of the racetrack to catch the back end, and for a moment, looked like Schrader might go by.
Look at the 6th place car there. Michael Waltrip, car number 21, the Citgo Ford, in a good run. Jerry Punch has more.
Well, Bob, how about the run for that Citgo Ford, driving for the winningest car owners in Daytona International Speedway history? The Wood brothers have won 12 times here, but they haven't won since this race in 1983. Michael started back in 23rd spot, has picked his way all the way to 6th, somewhat reminiscent of what happened in Talladega in May, where he started 31st, went all the way to the front to lead that race and had a shot to win it with 5 laps to go. Ended up registering his best career finish thus far in Winston Cup racing, a 5th on a super speedway.
Michael was pretty pumped after he qualified yesterday. Here's the second pack, and it's still John Andretti at the front of it with Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin following, along with Ted Musgrave. And Musgrave is running 15th at the moment.
Musgrave had started in 38th spot. His teammates started 39th, and here they are, bumper to bumper for about 11th spot.
Ted Musgrave started 38th, was up to 22nd by lap 24, and has now moved up to 15. Look at that dicing going on as Mark Martin heads to the inside of Rusty Wallace, a move that pays off.
Rusty Wallace was caught on the inside. He tried to dive between the Ward Burton car and Mark Martin. And Mark just turned left and tried to go around him. You see Derek Cope, the Badcock car, is pulled up on the back to help Rusty Wallace.
Good run for Derek so far, and Jeff Gordon is fighting to get up there and mix it up with his teammates up front once again.
Trying to go by Michael Waltrip. That did not work, as Michael on the bottom of the racetrack just drives away. Look how much better, how much faster the bottom was than the top of the racetrack. Meanwhile, Spencer and Irvin trying to get hooked up so they can go by the 24-car pole sitter, Jeff Gordon.
Only one car not on the lead lap. That is Greg Sachs, who lost a rear spring out of the car a while ago, causing our only caution of the race so far. He's back in last position, 4 laps down, but everybody else, the other 41, are mixing it up and on the lead lap.
Now Mark Martin has gone on the outside to pass the 22 car of Ward Burton.
And that second pack is catching up to the leaders. Here's another Napa Field summary. The numbers in parentheses indicate where they started. So you can see that Michael Waltrip from 23rd to 6th and Spencer from 27th to 8th. The 94 car of Bill Elliott is coming in for a pit stop. The McDonald's Ford has arrived at his assigned area. John Kernan is there. They're raising the hood.
The problem is overheating for Bill Elliott. The team just told me that the temperature gauge was just reading 250 degrees, so they've shut the engine down. Apparently a problem for Bill Elliott, overheating, so they've looks like it could be terminal as the hood is still up and the engine is off.
The field comes by and he loses a lap. There are other people out there that are also having problems, and Hut Strickland is certainly among those. He is back in the 40th position. And John, what's his problem?
Well, before that pit stop, remember, Bob, I told you Hut had said he lost power all of a sudden, and then he switched ignitions and it seemed to pick back up. Well, that problem now is he's told Felipe Lopez, his crew chief, that the car has lost something. In other words, something amiss in the engine for Hut Strickland.
Okay, so Hut is struggling a bit. He's just out there for a what we would normally call a Sunday drive. Today we'll call it a Saturday, a holiday drive. 7 cars are up in the lead draft, and then just a little bit of racetrack back to the second group. Sterling Marlin continuing to lead the race. Dale Earnhardt again heads for the high side of the racetrack. And here comes Kenny Schrader and Michael Waltrip below him. This is Michael Waltrip's in car.
He and Kenny Schrader and Ernie Irvin now. Michael Waltrip pulls out. I think I'll go with Earnhardt. Kenny, sorry. He looks like he has a faster car. Michael, did you make the right choice or the wrong choice?
We're going to see here. Jeff Gordon is going to come to the bottom.
And look at Spencer. He has got that high groove working. And he blows by Jeff Gordon. Derek Cope is going to go with Spencer. Ernie Irvin diving to the inside of Schrader. And once again, it's like something happens to Schrader's car coming off that second corner sometimes. Like he has to get out of the throttle and cars just go blowing by. That's the second time it's happened.
It's happened a couple of times, and it's really unexplained because at other times the car is very fast, staying up with the leaders, but then occasionally he drops back. Just a little over 100 laps to go in this race. Sterling Marlin. The Kodak film Chevrolet is leading over Dale Jarrett, Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Michael Waltrip. We'll be back with more live coverage from Daytona in a moment. We are back at Daytona International Speedway, and we're riding with
Clear.
Source car, and we're listening to his radio conversation. That, of course, is Loy Allen. He's running 21st.
That 77 might be smoking.
Watch this 77 car. He's smoking hard. He's up against the outside retaining wall. Look how high that Bobby
Got one
Hillin
looking underneath. You're
is
clear. He's under you. He's
around
under
the
you. Just
racetrack.
hold your line outside. Hold your line outside.
Wow.
He's still there. He's still there.
He's talking about the 11 car, Brett Bodine.
Brett Bodine, the Lowe's Home Improvement car, going by Loyola. Announced yesterday that Richard Childress was going to start a...
A miracle save.
There you go. You're all clear. You're all clear. He messed everybody up.
Man, oh man. That was Cal Lawson. Now we see some smoke. There's some smoke out of the right rear of Bobby Hillin's car.
Yep.
Is that the tire rubbing the fender, or is that the overflow, the radiator overflow? I'm not sure. And I guess Hillin was trying to go to the pits and ran in front. Yeah, there we see him. They're waiting for Hillin to come in. He was trying to get in the pits when Brett Bodine was going by.
Well, we'll leave that race to itself for the moment and go back up front to show you that 6 cars are in the lead draft, and the 4-car of Sterling Marlin continues to lead, and he has led all but 8 laps so far in this race with 100 circuits to go. 60 are complete. Dale Jarrett second, then Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, and Ernie Irvin.
Some of the drivers following Bobby Hillin in the 77 cars reported, and here comes Hillin down pit road. And Bill Weber, he's coming to you with some kind of problem.
Benny, that would be an overheating problem. Bobby Hillin radioed in, overheating. So he's making his long crawl down the pit road. He's all the way at the turn 1 into pit road. So he pulls in, the car's smoking heavily from the right side. And they're going to see if they can't cool it off a little bit. In the meantime, he's going to get some tires and some fuel. But Bobby Hillin battling an overheating problem. The spraying water on the front of the grill, trying to cool off the car. Still trying to change the tires, trying to pour some water into there to cool off this car, but it's not working out so well.
Bill Elliott went back out on the racetrack for a few laps, but he's in again now, John.
Well, Mike Beam thought that they had fixed the problem. What they did is they cooled the car down, but now the water hose comes back out. The car definitely overheating again. They actually cut a couple of holes. In fact, they're doing some more alterations to the nose of the car to get a little more air, try to get a little more air into the radiator. They also had to change an inline oil filter, but the crew going to work right now as Elliott's car is still overheating.
2-time winner of the Pepsi 400, Bill Elliott, making his return to racing, but it's not very successful here at Daytona. Another car having problems is Derek Cope as he's down off the banking.
Yes, he slowed dramatically going in the first corner and is slow all the way around the racetrack. It looks like the car is under power. I don't know if it's a lost cylinder, a flat tire, or exactly what the problem is, but bad news for the Badcock car.
This is the battle for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. John Andretti and Jimmy Spencer are wheel to wheel through the 31 degrees of banking. Also in this fight, Wally Dallenbach, Jeff Gordon, and Rusty Wallace. Wally Dallenbach had a great run here at Daytona in February. Here's a replay. That's when Hillin appeared to be trying to go to the pits.
Yeah, he was trying to get to the pits and turned down right in front of Brett Bodine, made contact, and Hillin, I thought, was going to spin right directly in front of the entire field. Did not, did a great job, and did make a pit stop, tried to put some water in the car. 12 car of Derek Cope, meanwhile, has made his way to pit road. They're working on the car. Jerry Punch, what's going on down there?
Well, Benny, the engine was not running when it came to a rest, and the news is not good for the Badcock Home Furnishings Ford Thunderbird. Apparently an internal problem with the engine. They lost a cylinder initially, then it got worse and worse. He just shut it off, and they're going to push it back to the garage area and retire it for the day.
Tough break for Derek Cope as the car is back of the wall into the garage area. Here's Bobby Hamilton and Rusty Wallace.
And Hamilton just blew by Rusty Wallace. Remember, Rusty Wallace a few months ago was running up there with Spencer, Gordon, Dallenbach, and now he's lost a few spots. And folks, you see the 43 car, the SDP Pontiac of Bobby Hamilton. That's how Richard Petty used to run the Daytona International Speedway.
I was going to ask you, does he teach Bobby to run the way too? He's right up against the wall. Always said that you hit it less hard when you're way up there against it.
Oh, if he hits the wall, he'll just scrape the wall. He certainly will not have him up momentum to get started. Meanwhile, now the 10 car's in, and look, it's overheated.
Yep.
The same spot.
Hey, Sterling Marlin is off the pace. He's off the pace.
No, something is wrong with the car because they pitted on lap 26. That was only 40 laps ago. Something is definitely wrong with the Kodak Film Chevrolet.
He watches as the line goes by, Bill.
Well, he's got a motor problem. They're talking to him now, trying to decide if he should bring it down here to pit road or take it back to the garage. But the early indication that is similar to what happened here in February, Sterling Marlin may have lost the motor.
Oh, man, and he was far superior, at least in the first 66 laps. He had led all but 8 of them until he dropped down off the banking and slowed. So Dale Jarrett now picks up the lead with Terry Labonte second.
Well, I tell you, we have got ourselves a horse race now because the dominant car after the first 65 laps, as a matter of fact, the car who led, what, 58 of the first 65 or 57 of the first 65, he's gone. Now who's going to step forward and be the dominant car?
That's a good question. It could be any of these 5 or 6 or somebody else. Michael Waltrip and Ernie Irvin are at the back of this group. Well, it looks like that Sterling is back up to speed.
I bet something happened to the ignition. He has changed ignition boxes and is now back up to speed. Bill Weber, what do you think?
That's why you're up there, Benny. That's exactly right. That's exactly what it was. At first they thought it was the motor. Then it turned out to be the ignition. He switched boxes, and now we'll see if he can climb his way back to the front again.
Meanwhile, Lake Speed, who started this restart in second spot or something, is in the pits. Remember, he changed 2 tires. Evidently, that was definitely not the way to go because now he's in for 4 tires.
He had fallen back to 22nd position, and now Lake Speed comes in for a change. Sterling Marlin, meanwhile, during that little problem with the ignition, dropped all the way back to 16th. We'll watch him fight his way through the field once again. Welcome back to Daytona and the Pepsi 400. You'll have more baseball telecasts at home than you've ever had before when you purchase Major League Baseball Extra Innings. With hundreds of telecasts from outside your area, call DirecTV or Prime Star to subscribe to Major League Baseball Extra Innings. Rusty Wallace is making a pit stop and relinquishing the 15th position. The Miller Ford comes in and the crew goes to work.
Well, he had fallen back 5 or 6 spots. So I guess he decided that, hey, Jerry Punch, what are they doing down there?
Well, Bob, they have an overheating problem. Apparently, Bob and Benny, they were trying to pull some of the rubber out of the grill. The entire front of the grill was matted with rubber. Now Robin Pemberton puts his hand across the front grill. They will change all 4 tires. Unfortunately, Rusty's bad luck at the beach continues. He is down and away, but the temperature is showing much more than they'd like to see right now.
So that's what's happening with these cars. They're getting the grills plugged up with rubber and overheating. Meanwhile, Ernie Irvin trying to go by Dale Earnhardt to take over the 3rd spot. He has Michael Waltrip to go with him. Earnhardt has the 25 car of Schrader, but Michael slides up between those 2 cars, and I'm afraid Ernie's in trouble.
And the 18 car of Bobby Labonte has also gone behind the wall, and the report is that he burned a piston.
And Ernie Irvin once again.
Schrader's going to come to the bottom. Passes Michael Waltrip.
Looks like these cars are getting to the point right now that they are having some trouble handling in the turns.
And we also understand that there are some light sprinkles falling on the racetrack again.
Oh, now look at Schrader.
And look at Ted Musgrave.
Ted Musgrave go blowing by.
Man, he was way down, almost with the left side tires below the line, but came back up in single file. We're only 7 laps away from the halfway point of this race.
Now here comes Sterling Marlin. The 4 car has fought his way back through these fields, and now he's back up to 12th spot. He's gained 4, but he's in a group where he can gain 5 or 6 spots in just a couple of laps.
He goes to the bottom of the racetrack to try to pass Mark Martin.
There's Dave Martin slow on the bottom of the racetrack, but I think he'll move over and let Sterling go by without too much problem. Yes, he did. There we see a few raindrops on our camera lens.
Yep.
There's our pole sitter, Jeff Gordon, the DuPont Automotive Finishes car, and he now is back in 13th spot.
So don't count Sterling Marlin out of this race yet. There goes Jeff Gordon to the inside of Ward Burton, and he picks up another spot. Jeff goes to 11th. Jimmy Spencer right on his rear wing. There's Sterling up to 8th position. And the AutoZone on-track interval. Now that he's got that ignition problem figured out, he is on the charge. Look at the laps he's turning compared to Dale Jarrett, the leader of the race, and he's cut the interval from 4.6 seconds on lap 69 to just 2.3 seconds on lap 73.
Well, he's cut the interval exactly in half in just 5 laps. So Sterling Marlin, yeah, we don't count him out because he certainly can win the Pepsi 400.
And Jerry is with Bobby Labonte.
Well, Bobby has climbed out of the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. Bobby, they're working behind the, what happened?
I believe it burned a piston. Looked like there was a lot of aluminum on the spark plug on the right side cylinder. So I don't know. We're going to look at it, see what we can do. Get the Interstate Battery Chevrolet out there for points.
All right, Bobby Labonte currently 13th in the points, just 12 out of 12th place, and this DNF would really hurt him, Bob.
Yeah, it sure would. We hope that Bobby can get back in the race. They're the top 4. Earnhardt using a much higher line than everybody else.
Yeah, it looks like the car is starting to slip, and it's been 50 laps now since these cars treated and changed tires. So they are going to need. We see Sterling Marlin moved up to 6th spot, just 1.32 seconds behind Dale Jarrett. Now 1.17, getting closer and closer.
And that's what 1.7 relates to on the racetrack. You saw the interval there. Jarrett up front, and there is Sterling Marlin back in 6th position behind Michael Waltrip. That completes lap number 77. We're 3 laps away from the halfway point, and we have to mention that because it has been threatening rain and, in fact, is sprinkling at the moment. Now it's less than a second interval between Marlin and Jarrett, the leader. Bill?
Well, it's a real charge to get to halfway. A lot of guys trying to figure out fuel mileage. I think some of these guys were going to stop a few laps ago. Then it started sprinkling just a little bit. They stayed out on the track. And the caution flag has just come out, guys. Caution on the speedway.
It's probably because of rain. They'll come down to complete lap 78, too shy of the halfway mark.
And Dale Jarrett will come by, and he will, in fact, take the halfway point. If you know what, Bob, if it rains.
Yeah. Well, now we got 2 more laps to go before the halfway point. Actually, 3 before it's an official race. But Dale Jarrett is the leader at this point.
But is he going to dive in the pits?
Good question.
Is he going to dive in the pits? And does these teams have enough fuel to run 3 or 4 more laps, even on the caution flag?
But if they come in and the race for some reason, and I don't think it's going to be, but if it is postponed the rest of the way by rain, they'd be giving up a possible victory. Well, let's see what happens. The pace car has picked them up. And Jerry Punch, what do you think? What are they saying down there?
Well, Bob, they don't have much choice according to calculations. I'm down here in the Hendrick pits. I walked over to the Citgo pits of Michael Waltrip. They pitted on lap 26. By their fuel calculations, lap 78 to 81 is all they could go, and it's going to be on fumes at lap 80. If they try to make it past that, they're going to have to push it back, so they're going to have to come in and put fuel in these cars.
All right, this will be the completion of lap 79 when they come around, and so we will undoubtedly see a lot of activity on pit road this time.
I think the sky is light enough that they'll pit, Bob, because even if there are sprinkles, I think we'll be able to get this race restarted. But again, it looks like the sprinkles have stopped right now.
Yeah, it's kind of an off and on thing, but it is not, the sky is not black so as to indicate a major storm coming that would really wet things down. It's just a sprinkle that passes over now and then. Let's watch the field come off of corner number 4 and onto the straightaway, and there is an indication of how much it's raining from Ted Musgrave's onboard camera.
There certainly are a few raindrops on that lens. Let's see. We'll clean the list. All the cars are going in the pits.
Yep.
They've all decided to pit, even at the halfway point.
All those on the lead lap are coming in. Jarrett, Labonte, Earnhardt, Irvin. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
88, 5, and 3 on your screen. You're watching a Ford and 2 Chevrolets. Right side tires going on. You expect a 4 tire change in all 3 of these cars. Right side tires going on the 5 car. Skip around the left side of the car. Still on the right side on the 88 and the 3 car. Now left side on the Earnhardt car. Likewise, left side on the Kellogg crew, getting farther up the road. And Terry Labonte off the gas. He is down and away, and now it'll be a race to the end of pit road.
Michael Waltrip.
Yeah.
Michael Waltrip was the first car off pit road, evidently only changing 2 tires. If the Citgo crew changed 4, boy, they did it awfully fast.
Yeah,
and what a tough break this was for Rusty Wallace and Lake Speed. Remember, we saw them make their pit stops, and now they are laps down.
Rusty going down a lap, also Lake Speed down a lap, and Kyle Petty has also lost a lap, so 29 cars now on the lead lap as we're still under caution, but next time around they will get the halfway signal, and Ward Burton, who was having a very good run running up front. In fact, he was in 11th position, now goes behind the wall. They're going to try to figure out what's wrong with that car. ESPN Speed World live from Daytona Beach, Florida, and the Pepsi 400 was supposed to be well over by now. We were supposed to go at 11 o'clock this morning Eastern Time. The race started at 2 o'clock because of rain. We are exactly halfway through. We're under caution because of sprinkles on the racetrack. A lot of pit stops were made during this caution period, including one made by Mark Martin.
And folks, watch this. You think you want to be a pit crew member? Mark Martin's coming to pits, and he gets it. Must have hit a wet spot or something. He dives in, right front tire turns, and whoops! Whoops! Me and the car are going to meet at the same time. Mark backs it up, gets in his pit. The tire changer picks up his gun and goes ahead and changes the tire.
We laugh, but it could have been a serious situation. But those guys are very resilient down on pit road, and I tell you what, they deserve a lot of credit for their contribution to NASCAR Winston Cup racing. We'll be back with the green in a moment. Half a lap, and providing today's shots from high above is the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes. And at the controls today is pilot Dan Thomas from Portage, Wisconsin. Dan, thanks to you and the crew for your overhead shots. And again, the blimp looks a little bit different these days because it's being prepared for the upcoming Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. Getting set for green.
Loy Allen, Rusty Wallace.
Cars down. Get ready. Green flag. Green flag.
Rusty, Loy Allen, Lake Speed laps down to the leader of the race. The red car on the outside, Michael Walker to 21.
Loy Allen and Ricky Rudd are off sequence as far as pit stops are concerned. They're tailing the lead lap.
I'm sorry, that was Ricky Rudd in the lead car.
Yeah.
Michael is behind Rudd. I'll tell you what, it's not the place to be, it doesn't appear.
Yeah, Michael's got a real problem right now. He is hemmed in with no place to go. Here comes somebody. That's Jarrett, isn't it?
Looks like Jarrett trying to get by. They're going to make it
at least 3 wide.
And Sterling Marlin goes by on the outside, and Rudd goes up the hill.
Whoa, does he go up the hill?
And Michael Waltrip and Earnhardt are able to get by, and he pulled up the hill in front of Sterling Marlin, impeded his progress.
Yep. So Lake Speed now going another lap down, and Rusty Wallace is about to go a lap down.
There's a $10,000 Gatorade Front Runner Award that goes to the leader of the race at the halfway point.
But it has to be under green, and 5 laps have to be under green. We were under caution at the halfway point, and so the leader at the end of 5 laps under green here, it will be lap 87 in which the bonus will be awarded. Here's Jerry Punch.
Ward, we're continuing on your MB&A Pontiac. What happened?
I think we broke a drive shaft taking off from pit road. And we just came by a brake right now. The car's running pretty good. We had an air push coming out of the corners. Hadn't been for that, it could have gone straight for the front, but we're done pretty good from where we started at, and I was hoping for a top 10, but we'll get them next week.
We'll try to get back in?
They'll get back in, but of course, so many laps down. We're just out there trying to learn a little bit.
That's Ward Burton trying to get that Pontiac back on the racetrack.
Ooh, Schrader is going by Bodine on the outside, and Bodine is already up there. And Lloyd Allen blows by on the inside, and Jeff Bodine, the QBC car.
All right, he's outside.
Lloyd Allen spotter telling him that Schrader was on the outside. Here comes Darlin back.
Making it 3-1.
One underneath you. He's there. You're okay. You're okay. You're clear. Outside, outside.
Now here comes Jimmy Spencer alongside Wally.
Still outside, still outside. He's inside, outside. You got your sailing.
Jeff Gordon has
still there.
Ken Schrader with him now.
Inside, outside.
Clear low, clear low. Clear high and low. He's underneath you. He's underneath you. Don't get frustrated. Just be patient with it. You'll be okay.
There it goes for the lead. Earnhardt on the outside of Michael Waltrip. Michael comes back. Michael has leg speed behind him. Looks like Earnhardt's going to have Dale Jarrett in just a moment.
Man, that's awful tight traffic coming out of there. Whoa! Michael Waltrip hangs on to the lead. Good job.
And one more lap will decide the halfway money, and here comes Sterling Marlin.
Sterling Marlin would like to win that 10 grand. He comes up on Rusty Wallace very quickly on the inside. Now gets up on the outer groove, and I wouldn't doubt but what Sterling Marlin can get the lead here.
Look at this. Just drive under Rusty Wallace and Michael Waltrip, and there goes Sterling Marlin. Wow.
Unbelievable. That ignition problem has been solved. Sterling Marlin has put himself back at the front of the field and is just as strong as he ever was. Looking back on Dale Earnhardt, who hasn't led a lap yet and would love to get those 5 bonus points. They're very important in the run for the championship. Let's see how they cross the line at the Gatorade payoff window. It's Marlin.
By a landslide, by 20 car lengths.
Yep. Bill Weber has more on Sterling Marlin.
Well, this Kodak camp is definitely Sterling's cheering section. In fact, that lap, while they were going down the backstretch, Tony Glover checked with the NASCAR official. Is this the lap for halfway? He goes, this is the lap. He got on the radio, and Sterling shot up there and picked up that paycheck last time across the line. They're having a great day down here. They're real optimistic, and they have good reason why.
Yeah, they do have a great reason. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace not having such a good day. He's a lap down in the meat and the sandwich.
Yes, he is. He's got problems on both sides of him. And you would have to mention food.
Nice past mile snack time.
Dale Earnhardt still up in that high groove back of Michael Waltrip. Let's take a look at the Busch race recap as they come down the backstretch. And maybe some contact there between Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip. Anyway, Earnhardt is second, and look at him close up on Marlin.
Wow. Somebody said, told Dale, well, okay, you blew the 10 grand, but it's time to go. Go up and lead a lap because we need those 5 bonus points.
Ken Schrader and Ted Musgrave are side by side while Jeff Gordon looks on. Looks like Kenny may be where he shouldn't be. This is from Schrader's in-car. He's going to get some help from Jimmy Spencer down on the low side.
Jimmy Spencer, Mark Martin, and is that Dale Jarrett all the way back in about 11th spot?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, and we speculated that there was some contact between Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt. Was there? Let's see. Boom.
I think I think we can say that's a definite maybe.
Yeah, I think so too. Jarrett down on the low side now, trying to get by Mark Martin. There goes Dick Trickle, who's having a good run. He's 15th. Lake Speed a lap down in 30th position. There are 29 cars that are still on the lead lap, and we are past the halfway point. It's Marlin, Earnhardt, Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip, and Ted Musgrave up front. Nice information there in the track fact. Every time I see that Ricky Craven crash, I cringe a little more. That was unbelievable. These guys, meanwhile, have been racing like crazy. 95 laps are completed. Bill, why are they still going at it tooth and nail so hard?
Well, Bob, look at the sky. These guys right now clearly racing the weather. They were racing to get to halfway. We saw it last week at the truck race at Nazareth. The race really took off after that halfway break, and that's exactly what's going on here. The 3 car would desperately like to lead a lap, and the 4 would like to help them out, but they don't want to get caught in the wrong position. The 4 bunch, when the rain comes, they're watching for rain, racing hard at the front, and Jerry Punch has more on the weather situation.
Well, if you're a stock car fan, you may not want to see this, but let me show you it anyway. Here's the weather radar. Now, here is Daytona Beach right in the middle of that picture. Look to the west of us. All that red and yellow that's flashing. Folks, that is horrendous thunderstorms, and it is moving east-northeast. Now, the prediction is, according to watching this move, that somewhere within the next 16 to 18 minutes, unless this were to go directly north, and it is starting to move north a little bit, but if it continues east, in about 16 minutes from now, we are going to get some serious rain.
Well, the good news is that we got this race in because we are past the halfway point, and that's a miracle. The 88 car is in 12th position. Dale Jarrett. Here's John Kernan.
Dale Jarrett is falling back. Remember, he was leading whenever the caution came out for the last little bit of rain. But now the car has developed a push. He goes into the turns. The front end just wants to go up toward the wall. So Dale Jarrett has a handful right now. They're hoping that maybe they can get a caution, make an adjustment, get him back out there and finish this race to at least all 400 miles. So then they might have a chance. They don't like that news about the rain coming in about 15 to 18 minutes.
Well, of course, Dale Jarrett is 4th going into this race in terms of the point standings. The top 3 are all in this little group of cars. Dale Earnhardt, number 3, the leader in points. Terry Labonte, number 5, second in points. And Jeff Gordon is 3rd in the points, and he's right now running in 5th position. And the Hendrick cars are lined up in a row.
Yeah, the Hendrick cars are lined up 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So there goes Labonte down on the inside. That means that should be Schrader and Jeff Gordon signal. Go with Labonte. Schrader is down there. The 25 car is there with him. Now the 24 car, he's going to tag on to his teammates.
Looked there like for a while he was going to go up high and join Earnhardt, but he comes down to the bottom and joins Terry and Schrader. Terry Labonte has not led a lap. He wants the 5 bonus points. Just 15 behind Dale Earnhardt coming into this race. And there you see the completion of the Napa field summary with just 1 car officially out of the race, and that is Derry Cope. Well, they're not making much progress here, BP. Uh-oh. A near crash. John Andretti, it looked like, got in trouble.
Oh, now we do have a crash.
It's Dick Trickle
on the bottom.
spinning on the bottom of the racetrack.
He's going back up.
You're clear. You're clear. Come on to the strike. Go to the strike. Come on, baby. Come on. Spotted some tires, I think.
Not nearly as bad as it could have been, Benny.
No. And Dick Trickle's car is still moving.
I think maybe Greg Skaggs got the worst of that, and it looked like that Rusty Wallace was also, if not involved, close to being. There's Kenny Wallace.
We can see Kenny Wallace where he's drugged the nose. And here we come. The battle for 3rd place coming down to the line in case it should rain.
Here it is.
I don't know.
I think Jeff. I'm not sure, though.
Look, there's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th all right together.
Yep.
But Sterling Marlin did win the race back. Terry Labonte was in 2nd.
And a caution comes out because of the crash down in turn number 1. But really, its makings were much before that. Let's take a look.
There we see, there is Dale Jarrett on the inside. The 37 car, John Andretti in the middle, and Trickle. Now we see Andretti and the 88 car make some contact, and Trickle gets forced into the wall pretty strong, and then they go down in the corner, and the Trickle's going to go down the racetrack and make contact with the 33 car of Preston, the green car on the bottom. Right there, they make contact, and look at Ernie Irvin in the back of the 33 car. But they continue on. Now the 29 car is going to come in here someplace. There he is. He goes up. He turns right, and he's going to hit the 81 car of Kenny Wallace, and here comes Rusty Wallace. Is he going to make contact with the 29?
If he didn't, he came awfully close.
Looks like he missed him.
Yep, he may have. All right, so it's our first real crash of the day, and it really, as I said, wasn't as bad as it could have been because it was in heavy traffic. There's a contact between Sachs and Trickle.
And Sachs and the 81 car, Kenny Wallace.
Yep.
And Kenny Wallace, a moment ago, let's see, Musgrave is going in the pits. A moment ago down the front stretch, Kenny Wallace, all of a sudden, look, the right rear tire just blew all the pieces, and he just says, hey, I'm going across the grass, and turned, and across the grass he went.
Wow. All right, Ted Musgrave comes in for a pit stop. He's giving up his 6th position that he was in. Dale Jarrett is also in, but those who are running at the front of the field stayed out. Here's John.
It's a 4-tire change for Dale Jarrett. Remember, I told you they had developed a push and would like to have a caution to fix it. Well, they had made a track bar adjustment to loosen the car up and also put on 4 fresh tires and filled it up with Unocal gasoline.
Musgrave goes
Musgrave must have just put gasoline in the car, or just 2 tires.
It was a quick one. Joe Nemechek comes out. They're still working on John Andretti's car, and we understand that the rain is only about 5 miles away. Will we go back to green? That's the question right now. We're going to take another break. We completed 101 of 160 laps here at Daytona. It's Sterling Marlin leading under caution. The third caution of the race is out over Daytona International Speedway in this Pepsi 400, a 4th of July holiday weekend tradition. Rain delayed greatly this morning, about 3 hours late in starting. We're cautioned because of an incident which occurred, actually it started in the tri-oval and ended up developing down in turn number 1. Let's watch Loy Allen drive through it.
Wow.
Loy saw the initial contact here and dropped down on the apron of the track saying, I'm going to get out of this situation, and he did.
And we saw the contact between Dale Jarrett and the 37 car of John Andretti, and then he made contact with Dick Trickle, and then Trickle goes down the corner, makes contact with the 33 car. And here is the line, the race for the line for 3rd spot. There's the leader, Sterling Marlin, the orange car on the very left. The 5, the yellow and white, is Terry Labonte. And here comes the battle for the lead. On the right, Jeff Gordon. In the middle, Kenny Schrader. And Dale Earnhardt on the outside. And Musgrave said, which one do I go with?
And also Michael Waltrip.
So who won?
I don't know that we ever determined that. I think Jeff Gordon did by just an inch or 2. We're just about ready to go back to the green flag. We will next time when we come back to Daytona.
Enter